So it is 2 o'clock and it has been raining outside since I woke up. It's not too bad right now, but it was really coming down about half an hour ago. And I just decided this is where I'm gonna stay. I don't get too many rainy days, fortunately, and I've been on the road for over 4 months and I've only had a couple like this. So I've been really lucky, but I think it's going to be like this for the next week, so that's going to be a little annoying if this has to go on more than a few days. Tomorrow I'm going to keep moving, but there were some mountains in the distance, and I really wanted to see those during my drive. I knew it was coming. I've been watching the forecast, but I can't sit around for a week or longer waiting for it to clear up, so it is what it is. But you know, I like the sound on the roof when I'm in here. I woke up around 9 o'clock this morning, even though I could have slept in even longer. And I've just been chilling out, just made some coffee and watching Netflix. This is it for the day. I'm gonna edit some video, watch some more downloaded Netflix, and probably call it an early night. It feels really good in here. It's nice and cool. A little bit cooler and I need a sweater, but right now I'm doing well. And you know, I'm just gonna, sounds weird, but enjoy this rainy weather. It's kind of like being stuck inside with a warm cup of coffee and sitting, you know, on the couch. It's, to me, it's the same thing, and I actually love it. But like I said, come day 7 I probably won't be singing the same tune. So it's starting to actually clear up a little bit, so that could be a good sign for tomorrow. I don't know, but that is, as I pointed out earlier, part of a retaining wall, and I saw the building. It's not too far from my Jeep. So I'll show that a little bit tomorrow along with some equipment that's sitting around here. But I'm going to try to go to bed early tonight and wake up early and start to get a move on. Alright, it is Saturday, August 17th, and it is legit cold here at the beginning of the Dempster Highway. It was very moderate, I'd say, yesterday. Cold and rainy, but not freezing cold. And this morning it's freezing cold. I heard the wind early this morning and I was thinking cold front, and that's exactly what it was. It pushed out all the clouds, so now I've got sun. It's a clear blue sky. I'm looking forward to the drive, but with it came cold. My hands are freezing to the point that it's tough to do anything that I need to use my fingertips. It's that cold. I'm expecting a couple of around freezing nights, if not a little bit below freezing, as I get further north based on the weather that I saw a few days ago. And it's gonna be interesting for sure. I love the cold, but this is testing me. So one thing that I need to do before I get on the road is deflate my tires. I was told by a local yesterday, and I'd already planned on doing it for a better ride. Just coming in this short distance to the Dempster Highway to get to this spot, there were rumble strips, so I will deflate my tires. But they warn that it's actually necessary when the roads are going to be in the condition that they are after the rain, and between Innovic, which I won't get to till probably tomorrow, and Tuck, that there are some jagged rocks still in the road, and that people have got flat tires recently, so that'll help with that. And I'll just keep a slow speed. I'm in no rush to get there. You know, I'd like to even be able to have a couple of days to sit tight around Innovic and Tuck if the weather conditions are really bad, and sometimes I guess they force you to. So I'll just see how that goes. Play it by ear. I've got, as far as I can tell, plenty of time to get through Alaska yet and back home. So as of right now, I'm still in slow mode and just kind of go with the flow. But so I am going to enjoy the sunshine. I'm going to do a quick walk around this area and finish loading up the Jeep, deflate the tires, and hopefully be out of here in about half an hour. So apparently there was actually a bridge that went across here at some point, and back in there is the building. So here is a building that's at the end of that bridge, and there's part of that retaining wall that's sitting near where I am that the river carried away. And here's a doorway. It goes into a walkway here made out of wood, and then you've got these huge screw mechanisms to hold the beams in place. So they knew the power of the water that they were dealing with. Kind of cool. Not sure how long. I should have asked the person I talked to yesterday how long ago this thing went into the water. but still here along with some equipment, which I'll show on the way out. Back there is where I was sitting, but check this out. It's an old boiler of some sort that was left here inside of it here. And then the coolest thing, I think, is this bad boy sitting here. Check that out. It's even got the boom on it still. Cables attached. You can still smell the grease. Even some of the wood on the side here is still attached. That is just super cool. Look at the brakes on that. I'm not sure, I'm not mechanically inclined, so I'm just assuming that those are some kind of brake systems on that wheel. But definitely something really cool. Got a corrugated metal roof, and then there's more wooden boards that went around the sides. But it smells like an old garage. It's pretty awesome. Miles to go on a dirt road. So I'm just over 40 miles in, which isn't even a tenth of a way to Tuck, and the road's not as bad as I thought it would be for raining all day yesterday. It's relatively dry and very compact. There are spots where you do hit potholes or an area of standing water, but it's not too bad. And with it being so compact, it's easy to get up to 50 plus miles an hour if you're not thinking about it. But I'm trying to stay around 40, 45. I deflated my tires to 16, so the faster I go, the less likely I'm going to be able to make a quick turn without there being a huge issue. So I'm trying not to go too fast. I did go down to 16 psi, and I'm glad I did, because even though it's a nice compact road, you know, you can come up on a big rock sticking out of the road pretty quickly, or a pothole or a series of potholes. And being at 16 psi, it's a nice ride over all of that stuff if I end up hitting it too hard. But with that said, you know, the main line on this road is right down the middle. So obviously everybody's riding that line. So it's important not to get complacent and just get into this mind-numbing drive, because if you go around a turn or up over a hill and you're sharing that line with somebody coming the other way, it's going to get real interesting real quick. So for that reason, it's important to keep your eyes on the road and try not to get overwhelmed by how beautiful this drive really is. Unfortunately, the clouds in the distance are getting thicker and darker, so I don't think I'm going to have these, well, now the blue skies are gone that are above me and in front of me, but behind me they're still a little bit blue. So hopefully they'll stay high enough that I can still see the mountains in the background. The mountains around me are already snow covered, and when I stepped out to take a picture of hitting the Tombstone Stein, I did notice a couple of snowflakes, but I don't expect there to be any real snow. So this is the Tombstone Interpretive Center, so I'm gonna check this out. I actually drove right by it, but turned around. Said I want to try to take my time and take it all in, so I'll go in here and see what there is to read, and maybe even there's a bathroom, which there's a pit toilet, so I need to recycle some coffee, so that'll work. That is after just 40 miles. Barely even see my rear tail lights. Got all the snow on that. So here is the weather. Dawson is where it came from, and the Dempster highway, so we're looking at not quite freezing during the day, but freezing overnight. So at the Interpretive Center, they've got just a lot of reading about the animals in this area. A lot of people are signing up for backcountry hiking, so they've got videos on safety and all that stuff. And then there's also a lot on how this area was formed, and about the natives that live here and still continue their way of life in this area. So very cool. If you're not into all that, it is worth stopping just to get a cup of hot tea on a cold day. They only ask for a donation, and then also there's real bathrooms. So make use of both of those things, and just kind of, you know, stop in and see if there's any information that you might need as well, because they have a lot of literature that you can take. But it's a nice stop after 40 miles in, and like I said, sitting by the fire, cup of tea, definitely makes it worthwhile alone. Dempster Highway, which is the only gas station around. And last night, when I did that, I noticed that it really wasn't letting me fill all the way up. And sure enough, you know, when I started the car, it was probably at least a gallon, maybe more short overall compared to where I usually am on the needle. So, being about 115 miles in, I'm just under half a tank, and I need to go another 183 miles before the next gas station, from what I can tell. So if that's the case, I'm definitely going to be dipping into my fuel reserves. You know, I'm running at a low PSI on dirt roads, only doing, you know, between 40 and 55, depending on the type of road conditions and where I'm at. It's windy and you've got elevation changes, so I'm probably running at about 11 miles per gallon, maybe 12. But outside of Calgary, no elevation, no wind, tires at about 32 PSI, I was getting 18, 19 miles to the gallon. And I've noticed that gradually decrease as I got further and further north with the elevation changes. But I've got 9 extra gallons with me. I'll probably use my smaller containers up on the roof before I jump on the 5-gallon jerry can that I have on the back. So just see how we go. I'm not going to try to get there on fumes. I really don't want this thing to run out of gas, because when it does, I've been in those situations, it can be hard to start back up. River. So the flurries are increasing, and it's making for messy roads. It's not terrible driving, it's just not great driving, and you're always on the lookout for that big pothole, which there's been quite a few that I've had to skirt around. I haven't hit any yet, but my visibility out into the distance is pretty much gone, which is a shame. But still some cooler rock formations, as you can see right ahead of you right there. But yeah, as far as a scenic drive, that's non-existent at this point. And I have a feeling that this is what it's going to be like for the rest of the drive today, more than likely. But we'll see. Going uphill, and it is a muddy mess. Even only going about 35 miles an hour, I'm sliding around a little bit. But visibility is pretty much nothing up in this area. So it cleared up for a little bit back there so I could see something in the distance, but now I'm back to nothing at about 2,800 feet. Just basically a mud pit through that area. this middle line here would be a good place to be, but it's actually not. Well, not much of a view now that I'm on top of the hill, or little mountain. And as you can see, the snow is actually sticking. I'd go out there and get a picture of the Jeep, but it is just all mud out there. So I'm just gonna stay in here and enjoy the view. Alright, so I am about 170 something miles in, and the road conditions they're not that great. I mean, they're not bad, but they're not good. And I'm at the top of the mountain here, and I can't see anything. So rather than drive through what is ending up to be somewhat of a whiteout in a couple of places, and right now you can see that the snow is blowing sideways, and it's actually sticking to my windshield when I have the wipers on. So according to the weather, it's not supposed to be a nice day until Wednesday, and that was back at the visitor center, and I'm over 100 miles from that. I have no idea what the weather is going to be like here, but I think it's only 1:20, and I think I'm going to stay here. I really don't want to drive all this and no visibility as far as scenery type conditions. I didn't come all this way to look at a bunch of clouds and snow and not see anything in the distance. So I'm going to do something that's in my power and at least try to wait it out a day. I'm at the top of the hill. It's really windy. It's going to get really cold up here, but I like it. I don't think, I mean, I can always turn on my propane gas burner if I need to. I've got the propane heater up top, but I'm not going to need that. It stays so nice and warm in here, even under freezing conditions, that other than a sweater and, you know, maybe keep an extra pair of socks on, I'll be fine. So I think this is it. If it clears up, I'm going to keep moving. I really wanted to get a lot further today, but again, I don't want to do it looking at nothing. So here I am. I'm going to probably organize the Jeep here. I'll probably do it all inside, since all the snow is blowing this way and it is pretty windy out. Rather than struggle with getting everything out through the outside, I'm just going to go ahead and set it up on the inside from the back and just put it up front. So that's my plan. I'm going to make some hot chocolate for now and continue to think about it. But for now, this is my spot. So I've got the boxes up front along with my 2 bags and my camping chair. That's all I had to do. I moved the water bottle right behind me from the floor up onto the table, and I pushed that out of the way. So I've got room to boil water, make food, whatever. Other than that, bed's ready to go. I'm going to draw the curtain a little bit. I have the one window side up just to keep a little bit of the coolness from the window from coming in. And I've been sitting here for probably about a half an hour, and it hasn't got too cold. And I just went outside, and I wouldn't say that it's bitter. I mean, it's windy, it's cold, it's cold enough for the snow to stick, but it's not ridiculous in my mind. But the weather is pretty much the same, so I'm just gonna chill, edit some video, and wait it out.